Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. How you all doing? I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to be reacting to part 3 of, you guessed it, the fourth wing. Okay, Stephanie has already put out the third and the fourth part, so it's finished. I will try and react to both of them today, but I think that's going to be impossible because these are like very long, like 1.5 hour long each video. So we'll see. Right now I'm doing the third part. We closed off at her bonding with both the dragons, the yellow one and the black one. But let's see what's going to happen now. In three, two, one, we'll start.
A bada bing bada bam.
Welcome to
Bada
this week's
bing, bada bam.
A bada bing bada bam.
Welcome to this week's Baking a Mystery, Baking a Murder episode. This is part 3 of The Fourth Wing, written by Rebecca Yarros. It's a fantasy novel that was sold out everywhere because of how spectacular it is. Let's just get started. I don't know how we made it to part 3 and we still don't have smut. Like, what's going on? I don't know what this book is about then. I'm just kidding. So we have part 1 and 2 that I'm gonna link below, but just to give you a recap, in this world of the freaking
Dragons.
of the dragons, there's two kingdoms, the kingdom of Navarre and the other one, Promiel. Navarre has been in a 400-year war with the other kingdom, who wishes to drain Navarre of all of their resources. So almost all of the new civilians, when they reach a certain age, they have to be enlisted in the army to fight for Navarre. They have to either go fight on the front lines, which is basically a guaranteed death sentence, or you have to take a test, get into the Basquiat War College, and then from there, there's like a couple of different sections that you can go into, different specialties. And Violet, that's our main girlie, she knew from...
You know what? I sometimes think as a woman, I'm so, I don't know. I'm happy and I think I have the privilege of not going to war if our country ever goes. Like, I don't have to go to the border and fight if our country ever goes to war, if anything like that happens. I think I am blessed that as a woman I don't have to go through all of that. I'm not saying the war wouldn't affect me, of course it would, but when I think about all the men that have to go fight in the border, see their friends and their comrades dead by themselves or injured badly, and even if they win and they come back, the PTSD that they have to suffer through, and it completely changes their mind and mess up their mind, and I would never want to do that. No. And I'm happy that as a woman I have the choice that if I don't want to do that, I won't have to.
day 1. She was gonna be at Basquiat because her mom is the headmaster there. Her mom is also one of the most powerful generals in all the kingdom. I mean, her whole family, the Sorengales, are quite famous. Violet's dad was known to be a scribe. Anyway, scribes are record keepers. I'm gonna go through the 4 quadrants really quick because this is how the whole school is set up.
I
You
already
have
know
the
all of
scribes.
that
These
though.
are the record keepers. They're the intellectuals of the school. They like to libraries and their little vaulted safekeeping book, rare book vaults, and they do all the written stuff. And then you have the healing quadrant. These are the people that literally hear you. Think about pre-med students. Then you got the infantry. These are not the jocks. These are just kind of soldiers, yeah. You know what I mean? You get it. And then you have the writers quadrant. This is the most unhinged level of quadrants because you go from, oh, they're record keepers, oh, they're in medicine, and then suddenly you have the dragon writers. That's why they're called the writers, okay? And this is also a guaranteed death sentence. You might not make it. The dragon riders are allowed to kill each other at one point. They have these competitions, and it's basically a death wish to go in there. And every single year, dragons will come in and they pick a human to bond with. Okay, so the dragons will only bond with humans for one singular purpose. It's the fact that dragons are born in Navarre, and there is this magic that happens when a dragon bonds with a human. It creates these protection wards around Navarre so that the other Promiel, they can't get in. This is what's protecting Navarre. That's it. And this is where the dragons are born. So that's why they...
I think I mentioned in my other video as well. I think Stephanie's wearing lenses. I don't know. I feel like she is wearing. Like, I'm not saying anything bad about it, but I feel like she is. So I just wanted to point it out.
Care. Otherwise, I don't think dragons give a flying fork about humans.
Uh
Generally,
huh.
generally speaking, they will incinerate a human that is not their bonded human for whatever reason. You could be looking at them sideways and they don't like that, they'll incinerate you. You will be cremated that day on the spot, bitch. What was I gonna say? So every day, the cadets have to prove that they're worthy of these dragons. And all of Violet's family were writers except for her dad. So her mom forces her to be a writer. She's got, I will say there is a lot of online discourse about the way that this author presents chronic pain illnesses because Violet has chronic pain. But
Okay.
it's just very not well represented, and I think the whole messaging behind Violet's main character is just push through the pain, you're gonna be fine, which is not how it works with chronic pain. So I just want to
It
preface that
doesn't.
if that's something that you're sensitive about, I wouldn't recommend reading this book. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna leave that part out. It was a little messy.
Okay.
So last part we're at two dragons.
Yes, she ends up bonding with two dragons.
One
Yeah.
big black one.
Yeah, one of the big black ones, and there's only two. They're like the biggest dragons around, and the other one is General Melgren, I think is his name, and he's the top commander of the entire army. So she's got the second most powerful dragon in all of the lands, and then a tiny golden feather tail. And she's like, "What the fuck is this feather tail doing here?" The only reason that she bonded with that feather tail is because all the evil cadets, so Jack, Orin, and Tianin tried to kill the Feathertail, so she saved the Feathertail, and now both of them are like, "Hey, we want to bond with you," and all hell breaks loose.
Because that never happens.
Never in the
Because
history.
you
This has never
only
happened
bond
before. So with that being
one
said, let's jump into part 3. Some of the
dragon.
generals are not freaking having it. They're pissed off at the idea that two dragons have chosen Violet. I mean, this is, like I said, quite literally never happened before. The generals are standing there arguing amongst each other while more dragons are flying in with riders on their back, and there's people in the medic tent. Violet is being treated for her arms. She's getting stitches because remember one of the bad guys stabbed her in the arm because she's trying to protect the golden
stabbed her.
Feathertail. And Professor Kaori, the illusionist, wants to ask a million questions, but he's holding it in. Instead, he just asks if he should get Nolan the Mender. But Violet refuses. If she gets mended right now in front of everybody, not only is she going to be embarrassing herself and seeming weak, she's going to make Tiern, her black dragon, and Andarna, the golden dragon, look really weak. So Violet glances over. There's Jack getting his shoulder looked at, raging because she stabbed him in the shoulder, remember? He's literally got steam coming off the top of his head in homicidal anger. He glances up, makes eye contact with Violet. He jumps up out of his medic bed. Oh yeah? Violet's no longer fucking putting up with his bullshit. Why? She's got the biggest dragon on the block.
Jack is the one that tried to kill the feather tail.
Feather
Yeah,
tail.
and he's
Does
an
he
asshole.
does he have a dragon?
Yeah, a smaller orange. But he does.
Mm.
So, I mean, just, she saw
Well,
the way
not
that he ran off
Karen.
in the woods. He's a runner. He's a track star. He's not as big and bad as he says he is. He's just evil. He's not even courageous and evil. So anyway, Violet jumps up and the two are just in each other's faces. They might kiss. No, I'm just kidding. Professor Kaori tries to stop them both. First, the fucking wing leader, and now you have your professor protecting you? You were the one hiding last time I checked. I'm not the one that ran off into the woods because of a bad shoulder. Professor Kaori looks Jack up and down, and he says, I would rethink your position, Barlow. Yeah, his name is Jack Barlow.
Oh, right.
Your orange dragon, Bade, is aggressive, but nothing compared to Tyrion. If Tyrion decides to incinerate you, I imagine he would have no second thoughts about it.
So the black dragon can kill him anytime.
Yes,
Yeah, because
dragons,
he's
they do have
stronger.
their own rankings. They love each other. I think dragons like each other more than they like people, but it's like the same with people. Some dragons are fond of one dragon, some are not friendly with other dragons, and it's kind of a power ranking. So if Tyrion comes and kills a bonded rider of another dragon, if they're weaker, what are they going to do about it?
Yeah,
They're just going to have to find a new fucking human.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just human dies, dragon dies, or no?
No,
Oh.
dragon dies, human dies. But dragon does not die if human dies. It really depends on their bond. So Tyrion was bonded with someone before and almost died because the rider died. But it was a really strong bond.
Because you have
So I
like
guess Tyrion was in
strong
this.
bond.
So then Jack whips his head on Violet and is practically spitting at her. You? Tyrion chose you? Me. Violet doesn't break eye contact and she sees his face go red, go from pissed to jealous, so that he looks like he wants to kill Violet, and then suddenly he looks very, very scared. Okay, guess we're done here then, correct? Jack and Violet end up backing off of each other, and Violet has to ask, Professor, have two dragons ever bonded with a human before? No, which is why it's causing quite the stir, but I'm also not sure what the generals are bickering about. Humans like to believe that we are in control of the bonds, that we are the ones that have the power in this relationship with dragons, but deep down, the generals know that's not the case. The dragons are in charge, and they have chosen you. There is nothing that we can do. It is now up to the dragons, the Empyrean, the Council of Dragons. The dragons as a collective are going to decide whether or not this is okay. I mean, the humans are just pretending like their voice matters in all of this when it really does not. So as Professor K is explaining all of this, Tyrn tells her to stick with the wing leader until the dragons get back from their little meeting. So after their meeting, they're going to decide who's going to get Violet. And Violet thinks, surely, Tyrn, the dragon, he's thinking about Dane, the squad leader. But Tyrn is like, no, Xaden, the wing leader, because they can telepathically communicate, remember?
Wait. What just happened?
The dragons are leaving.
Okay, so what about the Tien or whatever?
Oh yeah, so Tyrn can telepathically communicate with Violet, and he's telling her stick with the wing leader, which is Zane, the guy that's trying to kill her, the one with the rebel dad.
Yeah.
But then she's like, surely Tyrn is talking about Dane, the squad leader, aka my bestie, aka the guy that I want to pork. But the dragon's like, no, you're wing leader.
Because he's stronger?
She has no idea why. Like, this guy wants to kill me. Why would I stick with him? That doesn't even make any sense. Maybe Tyrn doesn't know the history behind their families about how her mom executed his dad. But I digress. So all the dragons leave the riders in this field, along with all the generals who are still screaming. Violet spots out her squad members, or at least the ones that are still alive.
I just want to move forward a little bit.
Rhiannon is paired with a green dagger tail. Rydick, another guy. He's bonded with a brown sword tail. And Sawyer, the one that repeated this process twice, he finally bonded with a red sword tail. So that's it. They used to have 9 squad members, but now they're down to 4. The rest 5, dead, finito, gone. But really, all everyone wants to know is, how the hell Violet got 2 dragons to bond with her? What is your secret sauce? Before she can even respond, Dane, hot blonde guy, is all like, can I get a moment? This is her best friend, her childhood best friend that she wants to do nasty things with. So Violet is sure that he's going to try and get her to talk to her mom. Maybe her mom sent him to grab her, but no. He leads her to a quiet part of the woods. You have to choose between the 2.
What?
Violet's shaking her head. I'm not going to choose between 2 of the dragons. I can't. I already feel bonded with both of them. You have to trust me, and you have to choose Andarna, the golden feathertail. She's going to be the safest. Here we go again. This whole guy's person.
I am starting to hate this guy. I am starting to hate his guts.
Personality is trying to get Violet off the riders and back to the scribes. He's like, I need to protect you. I need you to go back to the intellectuals. You're gonna die here. I can't let you die. But then also he does nothing every time that she's in a life or death situation. He's like, I can't help you because I'm trying to be a wing leader next. And like, if I help you, I break the rules and then I can't be a wing leader. But like, I can't want you to die. But like, I must if it gets in the way of me being a wing leader. You know what I mean? That's literally Dane's whole personality for the past 500 pages of this freaking book. Anyway, Violet is initially pissed because who the hell is Dane to make her choose? But also, why? Why Andarna? Does he think that she's too weak for Tyrn, the big black dragon? But also she's thinking, though, the options. And her heart feels like it's breaking. She can't choose between the 2. There's just no way. Pick Andarna. She's too small to fight, which means that you can just be an instructor here at the school instead. Look, Andarna isn't going to get you killed, Violet. But if you choose Tyrn, Xaden is... He's unpredictable. He's ruthless. You don't know what he's capable of yet. He's dangerous.
What do you mean?
What does Xaden have anything to do with this? Tyrn is a mated pair to Xaden Seagal. These names are crazy. Tyrn is a mated pair to Xaden Seagal, the strongest bond in centuries. Basically, the Black Dragon is dating Xaden's dragon.
Bruh, too much relationship, man.
Yeah, so let me...
No, what? Violet's dragon is mated with Xaden's dragon. I know that mates are like mate is a really strong bond. I read werewolf stories. From there, I know that when you have a bond, mated bond with the other werewolf, it's like really, really hard to be separated from them. Is that why you said that you should stay with Zayden?
Break it down. Dragons and humans can bond. Depending on how strong the bond is, dragons can die if their bonded riders die. Bonded riders 1,000% die if their dragon dies. But dragons can also bond with other dragons, like a relationship. They can also die of heartbreak in the case that the other dragon dies. So in a sense, Zayden can no longer kill Violet if their dragons are bonded because it could end up killing him too. So if Violet dies, maybe Tyrion gets sad, and then Tyrion dies, which means Sigale is gonna die, and then if Sigale dies, Zayden 100% dies.
Whoa.
Basically, bonded dragons can't be apart from each other for too long either, meaning wherever Zayden goes, Violet has to go, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And Zayden, he's not looking at hanging out in the peach orchards. He's going into battle after school, nonstop, every day. He's gonna be in the front lines, which means Violet is also gonna have to. Regardless, they don't have enough time. Dane tells her to tell him everything, which she does, but he stops her. Wait, Zayden was there when they were attacking the Golden Feathertail? Yeah, but he left after Tyrion came. Dane's face goes from confused to angry. Violet, do you not see what Zayden did? And look who it is. Zayden's ear must have been itching, must have been scratching, because he comes out from the shadows of the trees. Enlighten us, Dane. What is it that you think I did? You messed with the threshing. You altered the results. That is a death penalty accusation right there. When dragons are bonding with humans, nobody else other than cadets are allowed to interfere. But Zayden doesn't even look bothered. Are you making an official accusation? Did you step in and make Tyrion do something? Excuse me. Did I see Violet willing to fight 3 people twice her size so recklessly, yet so fucking admirably in order to protect a Feathertail? I did, Dane, I did. But I did not interfere. Sigale, however, saw all of those things as well. And she's not very fond of bullies. So that makes sense. Sigale calls Tyrion because the Golden Feathertail is about to get killed by some loser-ass humans, assholes, dickwads, and then Tyrion, the big black dragon, shows up because he never wanted to bond with a human. He shows up, but before Violet can wallow in self-pity and is all like, the black dragon only bonded with me because of Sigale, Zayden says, and Tyrion chose Violet all on his own. Trust me, the last person I would want my life to be on the line with is this one. I never did this. I never interfered.
One thing I think, my theory was correct because I thought that, well, it was half correct. I thought that the Feathertail's whole purpose was to bring Tyrion out of his little hole and, bring him to the threshing so that he can bond with Violet. But I didn't know that the Feathertail was going to bond as well. I thought his whole purpose was to bring Tyrion out and not to actually bond with her. But I was half right, half wrong.
Which technically, Violet should agree. Zayden's dad is the great betrayer and probably the reason that her brother was killed. But why does it hurt her feelings so much that he's saying he wants nothing to do with her? But no time to think about it because Zayden is getting in Dane's face. But would it still bother you knowing that I showed up trying to save the woman you call your best friend? No, this is true. Now that Violet thinks about it, when Tyrion was gonna kill her, before Tyrion showed up, Zayden had stepped forward like he was about to do something. She remembers seeing that, which means, but then she whips her head at Dane because he didn't do anything. He must have known.
He must have known?
Yeah, that something was happening to her.
Oh.
And he just stutters. There are rules, they have to be followed. And I can't, so you would not break your precious rules to save Violet. Dane looks like he's going through an inner battle, inner turmoil. Violet tries to stop the whole thing mainly because she's getting uncomfortable. It's not a fair question to ask. It's an order. Answer the question, squad leader.
It's getting spicy.
According to the rules, if a wing leader asks the squad leader a question, they have to answer. Dane swallows. I would not have saved Violet. Violet tries to hold back her emotions. I mean, she knew the answer. Dane's always been someone for the rules and only for the rules and for politics and for getting ahead. But it still hurts. It's okay, Dane. Get back in formation, squad leader. He literally dismisses Dane, who's about to start sobbing, okay? Dane turns around, gets back onto the field, and Violet turns to Zayden. Why would you force him to answer something like that when you trust him too much, Violet? turns to Xaden. Why would you force him to answer something like that when you trust him too much, Violet? I need you to see that he will not keep you alive. He will not protect you.
Okay, Dang is looking real bad right now.
He's looking like a little cuck boy or something.
I
Like
don't
a cuck
like
to the
him
codex
anyway,
or
so I don't
something.
But
care.
you know the whole like enemy to lover?
Yes.
Like Xaden is, he doesn't feel like enemy at all since
He
the beginning, right?
feels like a secret guardian or something.
Yeah.
Like he feels like his existence is to protect
He's
Violet.
like
Yeah.
he looks like an enemy on the surface, but deep down he's like, I can't kill
You know
her.
who will make a really good enemy to lover? Jack Harlow. No? Like that guy was so evil. Now imagine that turnaround. I'm rooting for them.
Yeah.
Imagine
No.
that turnaround. I'm rooting for them.
Yeah.
No.
I'm rooting for those two.
Wait, this is the weirdest ship I've ever heard in my life. Jack Harlow and Violet would be Giolet or Vac. So the two of them, they start walking towards the field to join the dragons that are coming back from this top secret meeting, and he tells her Tyrion bonds powerfully because he's so powerful. When his last rider died, it nearly killed him, which in turn nearly killed Sigel, my dragon, and since their bond is so strong, which in turn, it nearly killed you. I'm tethered to you. As they walk back to the field, they can feel all the eyes on them. Xaden warns her under his breath that now she's public enemy number one. Every unbonded rider, and even the bonded ones, are going to try to kill Violet. One, because if she dies, Tyrion is free to bond with another rider. And this is like quite literally the most powerful dragon that you could bond with. And two, because she's so powerful with a dragon like Tyrion, they may try to kill her while their bond is the weakest, which is in the first 6 months.
Okay, see, this logic is not really
doesn't make sense,
logicking.
yeah.
When you have a strong teammate, you don't try to kill your teammate.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two is if you killed her, then that black dragon probably hates your gut. It
Yeah.
will probably kill you rather than bond with you. So it's like really weird. Like,
It's
what do you
really,
mean?
Yeah, and then another thing that's really weird is that this is an army that needs manpower because they're fighting a war,
Yeah.
but then they just keep killing each other, and they're having these weird pissing competitions when technically they're all on Navarre's
Yeah,
side.
they're teammates.
You would want them to be equally powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what kind of team is just trying to kill each other the whole time?
Yeah.
What do you mean she's public enemy number one? What are you talking about?
It's weird. I think she could probably have a few enemies of people who don't care about teams, who just want to be
Yeah.
number one. But I would say, generally speaking,
Yeah.
wouldn't most of them be like, okay, this is good, this is good. We finally have a bonded rider with Tyrion.
Exactly.
Yeah. But like, what's new? Violet always has people after her, and she's got never die bitch syndrome, okay? Violet turns and she joins the two dragons on the field. And she's trying to talk to them telepathically, of course. Tell me it's gonna be okay. Tyrion's voice appears. It is the way it must be. What the fork does that mean? So cryptic for what? But Andarna the Golden Feathertail nicely tells her, we aren't allowed to tell humans what is said in the Empyrean. Ever. It's law. Violet looks up to see her mother, if her mother is there, and she refuses to make eye contact with Violet, so that's fucking great. What the hell does this mean? Meanwhile, the biggest dragon, even bigger than Tyrion, is the other black dragon, walks into the center with General Melgren. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's an even bigger black dragon.
Yeah.
His name is Coda.
Coda. So what's their relationship, Coda and the other two black dragons?
They're cordial,
Oh.
but they're not friendly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ooh, power struggle?
Yeah, most dragons are actually not friendly with each other because dragons are very powerful creatures. And they have big egos, and it's very hard to be friendly with two big egos, no? Yeah, so General Melgren steps up to the podium and uses magic to amplify his voice, Harry Potter style. This is the first
Dumbledore.
case where two dragons have bonded with one singular rider. There are no dragon laws prohibiting such an occurrence, which some may feel that it is unfair. General Melgren stares at Violet, and it's clear that he's upset that she's bonded with two dragons for whatever reason. Even he feels like this is unfair. However, dragons are able, and they abide by their own laws. Tyrion and Andarna have chosen Violet Sorengale, and their choice shall remain. Everyone starts whispering and staring, but Violet is just relieved that she doesn't have to choose between the two. Meanwhile, Violet's mom is walking up to the podium to give her very politically refined, PR-friendly speech about threshing and becoming a writer and what that means. Now, if all the writers will step up, Every rider that's paired with the dragon, at least all the first years, they walk up and the dragons behind them start spewing flames and it incinerates a part of their backs or their arm or a part of their body.
Mm.
They're just cooking them right now.
It
I
feels
think
like
it's
they're
a
cooking
kind
them,
of.
but when they turn around, it's their bonded tattoos.
I
This
knew
is the
it.
symbol of the bond. A dragon will mark you. And Darna lets Violet see through her eyes, which I didn't know that they could do. Okay. But Violet doesn't even, yeah, anyway, she sees her own beautiful back. And it's beautiful.
Is it like a back tattoo?
Yes, and it's got this big black dragon across her shoulder blades, and in the dragon's arms is a tiny golden feather tail, basically glowing, and it's
What?
beautiful.
Imagining it
Beautiful.
looks
Meanwhile,
good.
Dane comes over to hug her and promises her, "You know I would have done anything to keep you safe, right?" She's thinking, yeah, except break the rules, right? This is what I'm talking about. Who wants a good boy that's gonna sacrifice you to save the world? Everybody wants the bad boy who will sacrifice the world to save you. Duh, get it together, trope Dane. And with that, Dane picks her up, whips her around, and kisses her.
The fork?
And after you,
No. Like right now. I mean, if it was at the start of the novel, I might would have been rooting for them, but right now, no.
years of wanting this, Dane is finally kissing her. It's everything that she's ever dreamt about, you know?
Nah.
She can help and think about Zaki boy,
Zayden?
Zayden boy.
And she no longer wants this. She no longer wants Dane. And with that, Dane picks her up, whips her around, and kisses her.
The fork?
And after years of wanting this, Dane is finally kissing her. It's everything that she's ever dreamt about, you know?
But she can help and think about Zaki boy,
Zayden?
Zayden boy.
And she no longer wants this. She no longer wants Dane. So after threshing, Violet finally gets her own room. And it's one of the perks of being a bonded rider. You get physical privacy from the dorms, but you get no mental privacy because the dragons can be in your thoughts. They can read your thoughts 24/7. So that's great. After bonding, a lot of things have changed. New room, but also every single day there's flight lessons. Each rider has to learn not only how to mount and unmount their dragon, which is especially hard for Violet considering her dragon is the biggest out of everybody's and she's the smallest out of everyone. She comes up to Tiern's ankle. Climbing up onto Tiern's back is like climbing Mount Everest, and that's just mounting Tiern. That's not even flying Tiern. You know who I keep picturing when I read about Tiern?
Who?
I keep picturing Bingo, like a giant Bingo.
What? Not me?
Not me.
And a lot has changed since threshing. So first of all, the unbonded riders are
You know who I imagine when I'm thinking of Tyrion? The black dragon from How to Train Your Dragon. If you watch that cartoon, I imagine the black dragon from them, but not the face. The face I imagine like a fierce dragon.
and a lot has changed since threshing. So first of all, the unbonded riders are still there. They have to finish out the school year, but instead of taking writing lessons, they're basically doing like custodial work. And everybody's waiting for their powers to kick in, their dragon powers. It's like your signet powers. Once you bond with a dragon, within 6 months, your powers arrive. And until then, you just have to do all these menial tasks. And Violet's task is she has to go to the scribe quadrant every single day and pick up books that the writer's professors want her to pick up and then drop them off at the end of the day. Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of goofy. And Violet does notice that there is a power dynamic shift. Most people move out the way for Violet now when she walks by. Or at least some of the bonded riders do. I mean, they've probably been told by their dragons, hey, bitch, use some fucking common sense. Okay? Because I don't want to go through another threshing. So fucking get it together and don't piss off Tiern. And it's weird. It just makes Violet uncomfortable. But the only ones that aren't nice to her are the unbonded ones because they're plotting to kill her. They have nothing to lose. They know that if she dies, that's a very powerful unbonded dragon that could want one of them. Which is, I don't know. I don't think Tiernan is going to want an unbonded leftover bitch. You know what I mean? Which is kind of nice that Violet's tattoo relic, as they're called in the book, is hidden. Others have their dragon tattoos near their arms, but Violet's is on her back, which is good because if she's in combat in the future, if she graduates, everybody else in neighboring kingdoms will also know that her dragon is Tiernan.
So nobody knows what dragon she has.
Yeah, and it's better for her if they don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
And now the new friend group consists of Violet, Rhiannon, Sawyer, and Rydick. Side note, Rhiannon and Sawyer slept with each other at Celebration. Everybody's just like fucking each other right now. But we don't get to know what happens.
It's good.
So, if you were looking for some smutty schmuck
No,
to
I'm
read
not.
in public places, because you know what's so funny? I saw a TikTok where it's like there were girls on a train and they were just recording girls reading fantasy novels, but it's just smut on a public transit. It's like Agatar, but you know there's smut in there, so you're like,
not a big fan of. Obviously, I'm not. As a Muslim, I avoid these things. I don't read these things, but they're hard to avoid when you're reading on Wattpad. And I used to read a lot, and I mean a lot on Wattpad. And I was happy that there would be some novels that would put smut in their description, and I'm like, okay, so I'm not reading this one. I'm avoiding this one. But there were a lot that did not give this warning, and you'd be reading and you'd be like invested in the story, and suddenly just so much smut would just come, and you'd be like, I'd be like scrolling, okay, when is it gonna end? But there were some good ones that would actually put start of smut, and then I'll scroll down and I'll see the heading end of the smut, and then I'll continue reading from that. But yeah, it was hard to avoid some. So I know how
what page she's on.
bad it is.
There was another one that's like when I got my e-reader and I'm reading on the plane what everyone thinks I'm reading, and it's always a self-help book, but the real is like, then he threw her onto the bed, spread him cheeks and clapped her ass. I don't know.
Please,
While
Stephanie.
they're sitting down for lunch, a bunch of the older second years, third years, they all start plopping down next to Violet. They never used to hang out with her. These are the ones that a second ago wanted to freaking kill Violet. It's Imogen, the pink-haired girl that broke her shoulder, and her friends are now sitting with Violet. Yeah, what the fork? But it's also like not a weird bullying situation. They just want to sit there. Violet, Rhiannon, Rydick, and Sawyer are just looking at them like they just grew a dragon tail, because what? And one of them, Quinn, says, well, there was no point in getting to know any of the first year since most of you die anyway, but now it's after threshing, it's fine. Violet doesn't even know how to feel, but Tiern's voice in her head tells her that she can trust
makes
Imogen and
sense.
the others. And it makes sense because Imogen and the others are rebel kids, and they're best friends with Xaden. So they would never hurt her because then that would hurt Xaden. So I guess they almost want to protect her because she needs protection so
now
that
she's
Xaden is.
part of the squad of the rebel kids.
They're like unenthusiastically her new bodyguards. Like they have to protect her to protect Xaden, who they feel they owe their lives to. We'll get there. But they hate Violet. It's a shit show. Anyway, cadets that used to be the loudest, the most obnoxious, like Jack Barlow, depending on their dragons, they're no longer tolerated. Jack being one of them, because his orange dragon is actually not even the second biggest dragon. It's like a really average, below average dragon.
And
So-
then he gets treated less of.
If you have a bigger dragon than his dragon, you're not gonna treat him like he's all that. You know what I mean? Yeah, but Violet knows better. She says Jack is the type that becomes more sadistic the more disrespected he is. And as she's glancing around, Violet catches Xaden's eye. Before he looks away, he glances at Imogen sitting next to the table. So it makes sense, you know, they're all loyal to Xaden, so they're protecting her. And right on cue, Imogen leans in. Meet me after class. I'm gonna start training you. Thank you, but Rhiannon is training me for the spars. Sure, great. But you need to gain muscle or else none of that really fucking matters if you're gonna fall off Tiern. And since when did you care so much about my survival? Violet's head snaps back to Xaden, and damn, He really is so handsome. Like, why is it that every time she looks at him, her whole body has a physical reaction? Like, he is a piece of work made by the king of sculptors himself. And right now, Xaden is in the business of keeping his enemy, Violet, alive. I mean, kind of goofy if you ask Violet, but she could use the help because she's still falling off Tieran. Tieran has to use his magic every single writing lesson to keep her on his back, and that's just gonna pull from his magical strength. But also, this is so awkward. There's just so much tension in the hallways. Dane asks Violet if she had a second to talk, and she does, but the whole thing is just uncomfortable. They've somewhat been avoiding each other since their kiss, and I don't know, it's just a lot going on right now. Dane clears his throat. The kiss. I should have never. Oh, yeah, no. It's not that I didn't want to kiss you, Violet. No, but it's just against the rules. I'm not allowed to. Well, I guess it's not against the rules, but it's frowned upon to have relations with someone under your chain of command. The power imbalance, as they say. But yeah, exactly. No, yeah, Dane, that's exactly what I was thinking about,
Wait,
too.
Dane's talking about this right now?
Yeah.
Bro, he is so...
And I've been trying to become a wing leader next year.
Oh, come on.
Right, of course. Violet gets it, but she also does respect him a lot less for it. I mean, the fact that his life revolves around promotions and politics, it's kind of pathetic, okay? Violet smiles and reassures Dane that she totally gets it, and she runs off to go train with Imogen. And while Imogen is commanding her basically to work on her inner thigh, since that's going to keep her on her dragon, Violet feels this weird pang of jealousy. Imogen would not care this much to help Violet. Unless she's romantically involved with Xaden. And why does that make her sad? The next morning, Violet is tasked with going to the scribe quadrant like she does every day to pick up the list of books that her professors want, right? And it's interesting. So back in the beginning of this book, every time she would go to the scribe quadrant, she'd be like, oh, this is where I want to be. This is where I belong. But now she likes it, the smell of the books and all of that, and she knows everybody there, but it's just not where she belongs anymore. Oh, yeah. And Jacinia is her best friend. Yeah, she's got a best friend in the scribe quadrant, and she's working them books, and she's assigning to her, like, what books do you need today? Violet signs back, these are the books I need, and she goes and grabs them, and then when she comes back, she's like, hey, wait, there is a book that I've been meaning to get my hands on. It's one of those old, like, children's books. It's kind of silly. My dad gave it to me. He would read it to me when I was younger. It's about Vernon and magic, and it would have all these folk tales about the griffins and the dragons and how they were at war for something called Vernon. Do you remember that book? Your parents never read you that book? Jacina is like, no. Well, I mean, it'd be nice if you grab it. It's not important. It's not for school, but I just kind of miss reading that book. It'd be nice to read a familiar story. Jacina goes back into the safe. So remember how Violet, when she went into the writer's quadrant, her sister was like, you can't freaking bring all these books. Are you kidding me? Like, if you go across the bridge, you're gonna fly off and die. So she got rid of all of these books that her dad used to read to her. And this one is the one that she wants to read again. It's like a children's folktale book. But Jacina comes back and signs to her that there is no book like that.
Okay.
What?
Violet
Why?
is sitting there. That's so strange. Because it doesn't really
It
matter
is
how
very
trivial or
strange.
childish a book is. The archives, which is where she's at with Jacina, has an original and copy of almost every single book in Navarre in the history. Unless there's something that's ultra, ultra rare or forbidden, those are the only reasons. And a child's folktale would be neither of those things. It was her dad's favorite thing to read to her. But Violet thanks Jacina and starts walking off.
There is something
this
in
book's gonna
this
become
book.
important later. When
Okay,
Violet
I
gets
knew
back over
it.
lunch, you know, the group fills her in on everything that's transpired in the past, I don't know, 1 hour since she's been gone. Sawyer got his powers. He's a metallurgist. He can... Sounds like someone who's allergic to metal. He can manipulate metals. So now that he's got his powers, he's gonna go train with Professor Carr, who only trains writers who can harness their powers and master them. Everybody else, they're just gonna have to wait. They're gonna have to hope and pray that it comes soon, or else they're gonna die. Because there's always something that's gonna kill you in this quadrant.
So if you don't get power, you die?
Yeah, apparently according to
What?
Imogen and the second
How
years,
many
usually
things
the
are
powers
gonna
present
kill them?
themselves within 6 months of bonding. Sometimes it's just up to the writer. Other times it's because the dragon does not feel their writer is ready for such power yet. That's why it can take either 1 month or 6 months. It really depends. But sometimes the power never comes. And all that energy, that bond that's just inside of the human ends up killing the writer. They will burn burn out in 6 months if they don't get their power because they can't harness it into something. So that's freaking great. Just another death wish in this school. Which, speaking of, Violet has noticed that every single place she goes, there's an upperclassman closely watching her, following her, and they always have rebellion tattoos on their arms. Zayden's doing, no doubt, to keep her safe from all of the Unbound Riders. And then all of a sudden they hear a scream just echoing off the wall. They're screaming, "Make it stop, make it stop." The students all gather in the courtyard around a first year named Jeremiah, and he's just squirming on the ground, holding both of his hands to his head. Violet's got one hand to her daggers because she has no idea if Jeremiah's gonna do something. Zayden spawns out of nowhere and he puts himself between Violet and Jeremiah.
Okay.
He's on the ground now. Jeremiah gets up and it's like a flip has switched. He's no longer there. There is something, okay, or someone else behind those eyes. He turns to one of the kids.
Let me move.
You think I'm losing it, don't you? The kid's eyes go big. Wait, how does he know? Everyone stop screaming at me!
He can read
He
minds?
spins to Dane, looks him in the eye, and almost transforms into Dane. His mannerisms, everything. When is Violet gonna stop being mad at me? She knows I just want to keep her safe. Wait, how the hell? Oh shit, he's reading my thoughts. Jeremiah's signet power is intinistic.
Bro, that's too much.
Yeah, he can read minds, which is a death sentence. A power that strong, that invasive, is impossible to control at a weak stage of a writer being a first year. Then he turns to Garrick, Zayden's right-hand guy. Now he's gonna know about... Oh my god, Garrick is thinking about all of them in the woods. They're gonna get all the rebel kids killed because remember they can't gather in groups of more than 3. But shadows start climbing up Jeremiah's legs up to his face where the bands of black shadows, they grab his mouth and they close it shut. Like it's a real person, but it's just Zayden's powers. What a hottie.
Okay, so Zayden realized he's about to spill the
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
So
And he
controlled the
closed his-
shadow to force his mouth closed.
And right at
Yeah.
that moment, Professor Carr, the creepy professor that teaches all the kids the signet powers, walks up, white hair. He's a very tall, large presence man, no bullshit kind of guy. He walks up and a student screams, "Jeremiah's intinisic!" That's all he needs to know. Professor Carr reaches his hands around Jeremiah's head and snaps his neck, killing him.
Why?
What?
The powers would have driven him to madness anyway, so this is actually a better way to go.
What?
Oh no.
What?
So
It's not
technically
his
it's normal
fault.
to have nightmares after a day like that, but Violet's nightmares are strange. Her dad is telling her that sometimes things are not in the archives, and the only way to know is to check the sources. Violet tells her dad that she might join the Riders like her mom tells her to, but he keeps telling her, "You aren't a Rider, Violet. Riders can be easily used as weapons for our kingdom. It's the scribes that wake up. Wake up before you die." What is that? Violet's eyes fly open, and it's Tyrion's voice that woke her up from her dreams. And on top of her, holding a dagger, is Oren. There are 7 other people in the room waiting to kill her. And without thinking, Violet rolls to the side, dodging the knife. Another knife gets pulled out by another student. It slices her back, but thank God she sleeps in her dragon scale vest. You know what I mean?
An
So
attack
she's fine.
by
Anyway,
the
in that
Unbounded?
moment, Violet sees a glimpse of another girl run out the room, slamming the door behind her. And now there's still 6 of them. Unbound
Isn't it
cadets, all armed,
uncomfortable?
all determined to kill Violet. Tyrion tells her that he can't get there fast enough, but just hold them off while the others arrive. Whoever and whatever that means. Violet is throwing daggers, she's dodging left and right, she's disarming some of the cadets. There's no exit. There's too many of them in this small cramped space. She manages to get the dagger out of Oren's hand, but the guy behind her tells him that they need to kill her. That's the only way that Tyrion is going to respect them and will bond with them. Oren spits in her face, just pure dripping hatred. "Your dragon is mine now." And
No,
he starts strangling
why?
her. She's trying to escape, but he's massive. He's basically holding her in the air like a rag doll while he's strangling her, and the world is starting to get black. But then suddenly, bedroom door flies open, and Darna, the golden feather tail, screams, "Mine!" And everything goes still. Everyone is frozen in place except Violet and Andarna. Andarna screams at her, "Go! Now!" Violet is the only one that can move.
Her power
And
is
Darna
coming?
has just stopped time.
Oh, and
Is it like
Darna.
crazy power, right?
Yeah. How is that even possible? There's no time to think about it. And Darna is screaming at Violet now. She can't hold it for much longer. So Violet stumbles out of Oren's grasp, starts
Okay, I thought it was Violet's signet power, but she says this is Indana's in Darna's doing, so I guess her signet power hasn't come yet. Usually, in these situations, are when the protagonist's power arises.
Maneuvering around the bodies, okay, that are frozen like stone and halted in the way, where they just have hatred dripping from their faces, their eyes, their bodies. They literally want to kill Violet. There was
Oh,
no
she
doubt
can
about
see that now.
She manages to run to the door when time starts again, and she almost slams into another figure, Xaden. He's at the doorway, and she looks around, and Darna's gone now. He scans Violet up and down briefly before turning his attention to the others in the room.
Wait, the golden tail
Yeah,
left?
she.
Well, it seems like it was just in Violet's mind.
That's her
Ah.
power?
No, you'll see, you'll see. Okay, so he's there dressed fully in black with a sword on his back, okay, like some avenging angel that's ready to fight to the death for Violet. Side note, I mean, this whole thing is kind of crazy, but it's just the 6 would-be killers and Xaden, and Violet is standing in the doorway. Even though nobody is frozen in time anymore, everybody is still very still, okay? Because attacking another cadet or rider in their private dorms at night in their sleep is against the law of riders and in their own squad.
Yeah.
Everywhere else,
I remember reading that it was the only time when you cannot kill a cadet is when they're sleeping.
else is fine, but not in their sleep. At least not in the school. That's where they're defenseless. You don't kill another rider when they're defenseless. Xaden is staring at them and he looks calm. His tone is calm. Only Violet is close enough to just feel the heat radiating off of his 27-pack abs. You're all dead. Oren drops his dagger as if, let me just surrender. Like, maybe I'll just get a slap on the wrist if I surrender. It's not our fault, Xaden. You have to agree. Tyr should have never bonded with Violet. It's a big mistake that he's making, and we're just fixing it for
What the
him.
hell?
The weak links are only going to kill the rest of their squad. You know that. That's part of our code. Xaden is calm, and a shadow ripples out from him like dark black ribbons, and then starts reaching up every single person in that room except for Oren. The shadows reach their necks, and they get lifted into the air as the black ribbons of darkness wrap around them and start strangling them until it drops them all dead. Only
He's
Oren is
gonna
left,
die too.
watching in fear. One of the black ribbons reaches up and grabs the dagger and is holding it in the air. Xaden calmly walks up. Wait, hold on, I can explain something. Wait, the reason behind it is Xaden's not even listening. He takes the dagger from the ribbon of darkness, the shadow of darkness, not a coquette ribbon, and slits
Okay.
Oren's throat.
I
it just
was
repeats.
making this
Violet has mercy,
movement
I do
means
not.
you're killed.
And just
I
like
was
that,
not making it for slitting the
just like
throat.
that, Hottie with the body, left a massacre in her bedroom.
What?
I'd be a little pissed, ribbon. And slits Oren's
Okay.
throat. And he just repeats, Violet has mercy, I do not. And just like that,
Dang!
just like that, Hottie with the body, left a massacre in her bedroom. I'd be a little pissed, honestly. I'd be like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Your ribbons couldn't have escorted them out into the hallway first?
Yeah.
Like, if they're already floating
Nah,
around.
he saved my
floating
life.
around,
I'm
like,
gonna
20
be.
feet out the door.
Can your shadow
Nice.
clean the room too?
Yes, and also, did you really have to slit Oren's neck because now there's blood?
Exactly. Now you gotta get a bucket and a mop.
You know, for my wop. Because I was hot. I'm just kidding. And at that moment, Xaden's cousin, Bobby, and his right-hand man, Garrick, they rush in. They briefly assess the scene, and they start getting to work, dragging the bodies out the room. It's not even like they're trying to hide the bodies. They're not trying to be the next campus serial killer, okay? But they do need to get the bodies out of Violet's room because she's about to have a panic attack. The room is spinning. She's going into shock. She goes from laughing to being in pain to laughing, and Xaden walks up to her, grabs her by the shoulders. Come on, Violence. Are you hurt?
Violence?
Yeah,
He calls her Violence.
nickname.
Tell me where. Show me where, now. Ribs, my ribs. She hit the side of my ribs, or we'll try to slice them with the sword, but I think because... Ow! Violet tries to lift up the shirt to show the vest that she's wearing underneath, but it's in pain. Dragon scale. My sister made it for me. It's the only reason I was able to survive this long. Smart. Though I think there's other reasons involved. Yeah, well, I'm okay. It's fine now.
Right now is not the time to compliment her. They didn't.
I don't lie to me. Never lie to me.
Okay.
When are they gonna do it? He's just super intense, and it's kind of hot. Violet does admit, okay, it hurts. Let me see it. 2 others with the rebel tattoos rush in, and they start hurling out the last 2 bodies with Garrick and Body. And once they take the last one, they close the door shut. Xaden focuses all of his attention on Violet. Show me. It's a corset. I know how to work one. And he starts undoing the corset. And Violet, girl, what are you doing? She's literally drooling, okay, horn dogging it up, even though there are remnants of human remains still in her room. But she's like, damn, he really knows how to untie this corset. She can feel the air hit her skin and it's cold.
Why? Why? I don't understand. How can you think of those things at a time like this? There's freaking blood in front of you. You were just gonna die. 7 people died in front of you, and
Set. She can feel the air hit her skin and it's cold, but she's feeling the heat. When he's done, they meet eyes, and Violet is ready to give it all up for some rebel wee wee. Like, it's a lot. He starts inspecting her ribs while she tries not to act like she's whitewater parking it down there, and it's slightly successful, perhaps. We'll never know. You'll have a nasty bruise, but I don't think any ribs were broken. That's what I thought, but I guess it's good to check. He ties her corset back up and then gets on one knee in front of Violet. Will you marry me? He's helping her put on her boots. Like, she's ready to whip out her boob at this point. There is so much going on and she's loving it. She states that she wants to run her fingers through his hair. And then the annoying thought comes back up of how many women have run their fingers through his hair, huh? Why does she even care in the first place? But she does, and it's annoying. When he's done lacing her back up, he throws her cloak over her, grabs her hand. He's holding her hand before Violet can even process what's going on or the fact that they're leaving her room. They're already in the quiet hallway, rushing out of there. He's half dragging, half carrying her down the hallway. Every single puff of breath that she's taking, her ribs are expanding and she wants to crawl into a hole and cry because it's so painful. But he's not slowing down. How considerate. Once they get halfway down the stairs, he turns sharply and pushes on the wall. There's a door that opens. It's like, it looks like it's part of the wall, but it's a door. And they go into a tunnel. It's a secret tunnel hidden in plain sight. He swats his hand in the air because, you know, magic. And a flicker of light, like a light orb, starts bouncing around them. And they start running through this tunnel. But before Violet has time to describe the whole place to us, he's running. He's just booking it, okay? You know, considering you just saw the condition of my ribs, you could be a bit more considerate on the speed. I'm not Dane. I'm not going to treat you like some child. He does not treat me like some child. Yes, he does. And you absolutely loathe it. Tell me I'm wrong. He just thinks that this place is too dangerous for me. And considering I just had 7 people attack me in my sleep, I guess it's not hard to say that he's incorrect. Right? Xaden looks at her like he's ready to re-kill the people who did this to her. Oh, and please, do not even think about suggesting we sleep together for safety reasons. Never. I don't sleep with first years, let alone. Ew, no, not like sleep. I would truly have to be a masochist to want to fuck you, okay? I assure you, that is not at all what I meant.
That is exactly what she meant.
But he keeps guiding her through the winding little tunnels. Besides, you would be worried that I might try to kill you in your sleep. Hardly. I saw the placement of the injuries of the others in the room. You did not take a single fatal shot. That was on purpose. I've never killed someone before. Well, you better start soon, because after graduation, we are the ultimate weapons for Navarre, and they will use you to kill whoever, whether you like it or not. And Violet knows that he's right, but she doesn't even want to think about that right now. She's just focusing on keeping up with him because they're booking it. Where exactly are we going right now? To ask Tyrion what the hell just happened in there. Which, oh yeah, Violet uses her dragon telepathy skills to ask Tyrion what the hell just happened in there. To which he responds in her mind, I would tell you if I knew. But Violet turns her attention to
Tyrion
Xaden, and
is
it's
really cocky. Tyrion is like,
I would tell you if I knew. But Violet turns her attention to Xaden, and it's not like she's the only one doing odd things that night, unexplainable things. And what about you, out and about this late? And how would you know that I was out and about? Oh, you're right. Maybe you also sleep in full leathers and a sword. I mean, I wouldn't put it past you. Xaden doesn't respond. So you're not going to tell me? Above your pay grade, first year. Let's go. Before Violet can argue, he pushes up against another wall, and it opens into the field outside, near the eastern side of the field. They close the door. Violet is amazed. I mean, she's staring at the whole thing because the door just vanishes. It's like camouflage. It's crazy. And there it is. The unforgettable, unmistakable sound of dragon wings treading air as they land. Every time she sees it, she's still in awe. The 3 dragons land. Tyrion, Sigale, and Andarna. Andarna is first to run up to Violet almost in a slightly clumsy way, like she's exhausted or drunk or something, and she's booping her nose all over Violet. I'm getting tiger vibes. I'm getting the nose sniffled.
Okay, no, I don't have a dog or a cat, so I don't know how it feels, but I can imagine it.
She's booping her nose all over Violet. I'm getting tiger vibes. I'm getting the nose sniffled. That's what tiger does. Every day. The worst is when you let out a toot and he goes to your butt and he's like, and you're like, okay, we get it. I'm sorry. No broken bones, nothing. It's okay, Andarna. She hears Andarna's high-pitched voice. Are you sure? Violet smiles and rubs her little head. Meanwhile, Xaden is out for blood. His own blood, because he's shouting at Tyrn, which, I mean, have you seen the size of Tyrn? Nobody shouts at Tyrn, the dragon. Only the second most powerful dragon of the lot. One of the two rarest black dragons. Actually, one of the only two black dragons. And Xaden is out here yelling at him. What kind of signet power are you channeling to her, huh? You're gonna get her... Tyrn's voice is powerful in Violet's mind. That does not concern you what I choose to or not choose to do with my rider. Violet opens her mouth ready to relay the message because remember, you can only talk to your dragon.
Yeah.
But Xaden snaps, I heard him. What?
What?
That's impossible. Dragons only talk to each other or their riders. They don't talk to other humans.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Xaden and Tyrn are getting into a full-blown argument. Xaden's just wishing to get incinerated because very quickly, Violet can tell Tyrn is getting agitated. So she puts herself in between them and says, please, Tyrn, he saved me. Don't hurt him. He's just freaked out. A female voice that Violet's never heard before rings in her head. I second that. Sigale? They're all just talking to each other telepathically.
Right. Okay.
Xaden explains.
I
they're
think
mates.
the reason why they can talk to the other rider, means Sigel can talk to Violence and Terran can talk to Xaden, is because the dragons are mated with each
It's
other.
the same reason I'm chained to you. We're tethered together whether you like it or not. Do you see that now? So I deserve to know if it affects my life. How the hell you went from being under Orin's dagger 1 second and then being slammed up against me the next second? Is it the signet power? Did you get it already? Tyrn just grumbles, and I think Xaden gets the message. He lowers his voice. I just need to know what happened in that room so that I can figure out what to do and how to best protect her. You put me on protection duty. I have to at least know what's going on. But Violet responds instead. I have no clue what happened in there. Finally, a small, weaker voice pops up in her mind. We are taught that we should not bond with humans until we're full. We are taught that we should not bond with humans until we're full grown. Feathertails do not bond because we can gift our powers to humans. Xaden can't hear Andarna because they're not mated with Sigale, right?
Yeah.
So she turns and relays the message, and they're both confused. Wait, like a signet power? No, a signet power is the rider's power through channeling their dragon. But for this, I gave my gift, my own powers to you directly to use briefly, because I don't know how to channel my power to give you a signet. I just know how to give you my power, because I'm still a feathertail. Violet is so confused. She thought feathertails are a species of dragons. And nobody really knows much about feathertails. They're rarely ever seen. Wait, what do you mean you're still a feathertail? Feathertails are baby dragons.
So they're gonna turn into a big dragon?
Yeah. You're a hatchling? I am not. I'm 2 years old and I can fly. You guys let a baby bond?
Wait, but do we know what this dragon is?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. Tyrn
What?
answers this time. Nobody lets Andarna do anything. Besides, she's gonna be full grown within a year or two. We mature quite fast as dragons. Sigale speaks next. If we knew that she would actually bond, we would have tried to stop her. Xaden looks devastated. Is she yours? The idea that Sigale hid something this big from Xaden would devastate him because they're bonded, you know?
Oh, that's the daughter?
Well, Sigale blows a huff to rustle Xaden's hair, almost kind of motherly. No, please don't be ridiculous. I would never let my offspring bond while being feathered. Their powers are too unpredictable. Her parents passed before she hatched. We've all kind of taken her under our wing. I'm so sorry, Andarna.
So that's why they're so protective over her.
But Sigale and Tyrn keep explaining. Bonding too early is dangerous. They can gift their power directly to a rider, and if they exhaust that power, use it too frequently, they can burn them out and kill them. I would never do that to Andarna. I would never. That's why I chose you. Tyrion and Sigale get serious again. If the ones in command find out that they can get the gifts of a Feathertail, they will be hunted. We cannot tell anyone what Andarna is. Hopefully she will mature by the time that Violet graduates, and right now the Dragon Elders are working on putting more strong protections on the Feathertails in place. Violet looks up at Andarna and she just looks exhausted. Thank you, Andarna. Whatever you did to save my life, but I'll never tell anyone. Andarna admits, I made time stop. Xaden and Violet both go still because this is unheard of. This is nearly impossible. Nobody's ever been able to do that. But it's so very clearly coming at a steep, steep price. Violet can see Andarna barely able to stand up. She just looks so exhausted. If it's too much, it can kill you. It can kill us. But I know that I can trust you. I will be worthy of your trust, Andarna. The group agree that nobody can know about this and nobody can know what Violet did, that she's able to stop time. Yeah.
That's kind of a cheat code, though. If you can stop time, even for like a couple seconds, you can just go, boop, you're dead.
So Xaden is wondering how the hell the cadets even got into her room to begin with, because only the person who lives in there can get in. I think you need like a master key. I don't know how locks work in this school, but it's got to be someone who, first of all, knows which room she's in, and second, can unlock it from the outside.
Yeah.
Violet bites her lip because she knows
It's really okay.
exactly who. She saw them leaving the room before Xaden got there. And he's like, tell me who, now. The next day, the 6 in the room, their names are called during the death roll reading, and everybody is told that they were killed for the capital offense of breaking the sacred laws of the Codex. Everyone is staring at Violet again. But Xaden, he's busy making some changes. Since the squads have gotten smaller because, everybody's dying, the original 4, Violet, Rhiannon, Redoc, and Sawyer, they get a few more from their other squads to join their ranks. So now there's fewer squads, but like the same size of squad, if that makes sense. And today, they've got a brand new addition. This is the guy that won the fastest time for the obstacle challenge earlier, Liam. He is a rebel son, blonde hair, blue eyes, probably one of the most built out of everybody. But he's also very agile, very quick on his feet. And the only annoyance is, Violet knows that he's only being transferred to be her bodyguard. She's basically bitching at Xaden in front of everyone. I don't need a bodyguard. This is in front of their whole wing, okay? But he just ignores her, and now she's fucking pissed. She doesn't care that she's not allowed to talk to him like that. She repeats it much louder. I said, I don't need a bodyguard. Some of the others are like, yikes. Imogen is like, yeah, that's not going to convince him. Xaden's eyes are intense. They turn to Violet. Oh, on the contrary, I told Liam that he will be in every class, every challenge, wherever you go. He will be there. He's even going to be stationed at the library next to you. The room next to yours cleaned out. Say hello to your new roommate, Liam.
I don't know why she's so stubborn.
Yeah, me too, because, girly pop, you're going to die. You keep dying. Okay?
No, but she's not dying as well.
But you're like, don't save me. I don't know what's going on. And with that, Xaden just walks off like the hot, sexy dragon rider, Mr. I'd like to ride your dragon. Just walks off, okay, with that juicy badonkadonk. I imagine that you would get a big badonkadonk from riding dragons. It's got to be a good glute workout. Dayton is pissed, though. He doesn't like that they're so bonded together and that Xaden is now taking care of Violet in a sense, even if it's for his own life's sake, but still. Dayton looks super pissed. But what can he say? Because that's his wing leader. What is he going to do? Every rider and unbound cadet is called out onto the field where Professor Panchak gives another speech. We treat our laws as sacred commandments that cannot be breached. Today, we present an accusation against a lawbreaker. Oh, shit. Violet's off on her own little world, thinking about how much she misses good sex. I'm not even making this up.
What?
She's having a whole full-blown conversation where she's like, I just need to get laid.
What is this? Why is this girl so horny? What is wrong with her?
Badonka.
What if she... if she keeps on going like this thing, it seems good and it feels good when in certain area. Okay, yeah, I understand it's ridiculous, but it gives you kind of thing. But if you are thinking about sex every single time, it's just gonna be a thing that is like, okay, just get over with it, right? Yeah, just like Dane. If Dane had had said these things like, I want to save you, and she goes cry 1 or 2 times, I would be like, oh my god, he cares about her. Ah! But now it's like, okay, just give up. And it's the same with Violet right now. I mean, if she was really thinking about these things in 2 to 3, okay, if too much, four places so far, it would give us a feeling like, oh my god, how can she do that? Ah, but it's like, no, not anymore. It's like, just do something then.
Donk. I imagine that you would get a big badonkadonk from riding dragons. It's got to be a good glute workout. Dayton is pissed though. He doesn't like that they're so bonded together and that Zayden is now taking care of Violet in a sense, even if it's for his own life's sake, but still. Dayton looks super pissed. But what can he say? Because that's his wing leader. What is he going to do? Every rider and unbound cadet is called out onto the field where Professor Panchak gives another speech. We treat our laws as sacred commandments that cannot be breached. Today, we present an accusation against a lawbreaker. Oh, shit. Violet's off on her own little world, thinking about how much she misses good sex. I'm not even making this up.
What?
She's having a whole full-blown conversation where she's like, I just need to get laid. But then Zayden gets up on the podium and the whole place goes silent. It's like a wave washes over everyone. Even if you despise this guy, there is something about him. That's why his dad was the rebel leader. It's a presence. It's not even charisma. It's just, I don't know, something is there. And he makes his way to the front. Last night, there was a violation of the codex. Shit. Zayden is looking directly at Violet and Dane is staring at Violet like, hello, why aren't you telling me something? I interrupted an attack, a pre-planned attack against a rider of mine. Because my rider's life was on the line, I personally executed all 6 of the rule breakers, would-be killers. However, the attack was facilitated by a rider that fled before I arrived at the scene. A rider that knows what they did by planning out which room Violet was in and going as far to unlock the doors for the killers. I call you to answer for your crime. Wing leader, Amber Mavis. Everyone goes silent. There's only 4 wing leaders. Oh,
Is she the one? I remember her from Goglet, whatever the trial they had to go through before threshing, when Violet used her dagger to pass through the chimney. She was like really angry. The best friend of Dane, you can say.
wing leader? Are you? And Amber is the one that called out Violet for rule breaking during the gauntlet, remember?
No.
But now she's out here breaking one of the biggest rules. Thou shalt not facilitate murder. Okay? Dane is fucking pissed though. Not at Amber, but at Zayden. What the hell,
What?
Violet? Tell them that Zayden is a fucking liar. She would never do such a thing. Tell them the truth, Violet. He's not lying, and I'm not either, Dane. No, it's not possible. Amber would never. She would, and she did. I saw her. Then you saw wrong.
Why is he so offended?
Why?
I don't know. He's weird. I don't
What a
understand.
weirdo.
I don't understand his actions, okay?
I hate him even more.
Behind Dane, Amber gets up on the podium and in a shrill voice she begs, I did no such thing. Dane's face is red at this point. He's practically begging Violet to go up there and absolve Amber for her crimes that she didn't commit. But she
Why?
did. She was in the room. Dane refuses and he cups his hands towards Violet and starts intensely approaching her. If Dane touches Violet, he can see her past memories. Violet is so disgusted, she steps back and spits out a quiet warning. Touch me without my consent and you will live to regret it.
This is turning really weird right now.
Zayden calls for a wing leader meeting.
Dane, what are you doing? Okay, I didn't hate it, Dane. I was annoyed by him, okay? But why would you do something like that?
In the room. Dane refuses and he cups his hands towards Violet and starts intensely approaching her. If Dane touches Violet, he can see her past memories. Violet is so disgusted, she steps back and spits out a quiet warning. Touch me without my consent and you will live to regret it.
This is turning really weird right now.
Zayden calls for a wing leader meeting and the 4 of them gather on the podium with the professor. And right at that moment, 6 dragons land on the perch along the field. Tyrn is the biggest out of all of them. So you got the 4 wing leaders dragons and then you have Tyrn and Andarna. They all watch silently as the wing leaders discuss the accusation, which at this point, it's getting really nasty. Amber is even accusing Xaden of being a traitor, saying that he's accusing her because her parents refused to join Xaden's dad during the rebellion. Which is such a low blow, okay? It's kind of disgusting. Violet is quietly observing. Xaden is up there fighting for her. Even though he never personally saw Amber in that room, he's wholeheartedly believing in what Violet has said. But not only that, he's fighting to the death for her. Meanwhile, Dane can't even trust her to be equal or good enough to even be a writer, even though she's proven herself time and time again. Violet turns to Tieran and tells him, "Please, can you show them that she was there? A memory has never been shared outside of a mating bond. Please, he's fighting up there for me, for Andarna. Just show the others what they see, what they need to see. Just the part where I saw her leave. AKA, take out the part where I made time stop." Tieran agrees, and the whole field goes silent, and everybody is seeing the memory of Amber leaving the room. And Dane's face is pale. "Well, I hope you believe me now, because as your best friend, my word isn't good enough for you. Why do you think I never tell you anything?" The wing leaders share a moment of silence before Xaden announces they've reached an agreement. Amber Mavis is guilty and will be killed by incineration. Amber screams for her orange dagger tail dragon, who starts puffing air at the other dragons, but Tieran sharply turns to the orange dragon and growls in its face, and Clade stops and just hangs her head. There's nothing more they can do. Violet's heart breaks for Clade mainly. She begs Tieran,
I feel bad for the dragon. I'm sure the dragon must have stopped Amber. The dragon must have said to the Amber, "You shouldn't do something like that," but her own hatred was her demise. I feel bad for the dragon.
"Maybe we don't have to kill Amber, at least for Clade's sake. Maybe we can figure something out." But Tieran is stern. "I let Oren live because you requested, and they tried to kill you. As your bonded dragon, I will tell you, justice is not always merciful." Tieran turns to Amber, and a hot flash is felt, and it almost blinds everyone. And then they all grab at their ears. Clade, Amber's orange dagger tail, is screaming out in mourning for her rider.
You know, what do I feel like this book? The dragons are the main character. These humans are like
Yes!
insignificant little.
But the dragons aren't there all the time. And it's sad. Like, I wish I knew more about the dragons.
They should write the book from the dragon's perspective.
Yes.
It might be better.
Now
I
Violet,
feel-
she's sad. She's got a new little
Oh my god, I feel bad for Clade.
shadow tailing her everywhere. Liam, the bodyguard. Okay, the first year, that's the personal bodyguard for Xaden. He's even following Violet into the Scribes Quadrant to pick up books for professors and flirting with Jessina at the same time. Which, like, she's like, when the hell did you learn sign language? But that is another conversation for another day, okay? It's fascinating, though. Violet never really noticed until now how gross and mean people are to the marked ones, the rebel kids, without even knowing them. They think they're being slick with it, but it's just like straight up.
Now that she started hanging out with the marked one, she can see
that they're
people's
noticeably like
reactions.
disgusting towards them. They're not even hiding it. How are you still so kind to everyone when they're so mean to you? They hate me because I'm the son of a disgraced colonel, but they don't really know me at all. But Xaden does, and you know him. For the past however long, Violet has been trying to get to know Xaden, but it's impossible. He doesn't let anybody in. He didn't just put you on bodyguard duty because you can fight, did he? Smart and good with blades, okay? Xaden's right. You would have been a wasted talent here in the Scribe.
Hey everybody, it's Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. I have a question for you. If you had to make a choice between having massive impact on people's
Quadrant. Well, he wouldn't really know, would he? You always wanted to be a writer growing up? I just wanted to stay alive. Well, it's probably not the best quadrant to stay alive now, is it? How did you meet Xaden? He's not really the best person to get involved with if you want to stay alive. Well, we were in the same foster home after our parents. Violet's looking at Liam very confused because she's read almost every single book there is to read about the rebellion, considering it's what killed her brother, and there was no mention anywhere of any sort of foster care system for the kids of the rebels. Liam picks up on it. Well, where else would Navarre have sent us when all of our parents were executed, rightfully so, for being traitors? It sounds like he's just repeating what he was told to repeat. Like, I don't think he thinks his dad is a traitor. Our houses were given to the nobles for Navarre that remained loyal, and as it should be. And we were here, sent to foster. And we were sent to foster care homes. I was sent to Trivian, and that's where I met Zayden, and my sister was sent somewhere else. Wait, they didn't let you and your sister be together? She's gonna be here next year, and hopefully I'll be around to see her when she enters the Writers' Quadrant. She's got good balance. I have no doubt that she's gonna make it. She has to. Well, worst case, she could always choose to be a scribe or something. Liam is looking at her like she's fucking dumb because remember, the rebel kids, the deal is they have to join the Writers, but apparently she didn't know that either. When Liam fills her in, Violet looks super torn. Again, why don't they write these in the history books? I think the Writers' Quadrant is the best place to rise in the ranks. If you're good, you get a good career. There's not much politics involved. It's more about skill. But other marked ones believe that we were placed here so that we can get killed off before we graduate. It's a death sentence without them actually killing us and getting blood on their hands. Apparently, there were speculations that dragons hate rebel kids so that they would have them killed on sight, but that didn't end up happening. How many marked ones are there? 107. Zayden is the oldest, and the youngest is almost 6 years old now, Julianne. She's marked too, with the relic, the scar. She was born with it. I'm not sure how. And so Violet, she's having like a midlife crisis right now. Like, what do you mean? Meanwhile, Liam is going on about Zayden. Zayden taught me how to fight in the foster home, and he's the only reason that I've made it this far. I know you don't believe me, but he does take care of his own. He put you up to this, pitching his better traits to me. I don't think he has to pitch anything. Technically, you're stuck with him for eternity, honestly. So they got this little steel cart of books that they're bringing to the Writers' Quadrant, and one of the scrolls falls off in the hallway. They pick it up, and they unravel it. It unravels by itself, okay? They're not snooping. It's for one of the professors, the Battlegrounds professor, the Battle Brief professor. And they open it, and they're trying to re-scroll it back together before putting it onto the cart. Because it's like a toilet paper roll. It unscrolled when it fell off. So now they're re-rolling it, but it's news that a southern town has been breached. Just like in the mountains, the village has been breached by the opposing country or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is so bizarre. And then she closes it back up and she checks the back, and there's nothing that says that it was confidential information. So she's like, okay, that's weird, but maybe I'm going to hear more about it in Battle Brief. They put it back on the card and they head to the Writers' Quadrant.
Wait, what just happened? She read that there's something going on, but she hasn't heard about it. Is that it?
This is fresh news going to the professor. So they'll probably hear about it in Battle Brief.
Okay.
Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. But it's another like Griffin attack.
So they have dragons, but the way for them to get news is through these like scrolls?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have dragons that telepathically communicate,
Yeah.
but they're like a scroll.
Let me
Send the
deliver.
pigeon.
Okay.
Yeah. So they put it back on the cart and they start heading back over because Violet is starving now. Now the connection between her and Tyrn is getting stronger, and she hasn't learned how to block off Tyrn yet, which means every emotion and everything that Tyrn feels, she feels it 100 times more. Because if a dragon feels slightly hungry, that feeling in a human is gonna be overpowering. So like randomly, she'll just get fucking ravenous. She's like, I gotta go eat 25 pancakes right the now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Liam is like, don't even worry about it because Zayden put a protection spell on your room. And she's like, I'm not even thinking about that right now. I'm thinking about going back, putting these books away, and eating 25 burgers. So let's hit it. They go to lunch, and then they go hit the mats. And they're just practicing. They're not like sparring. They're just practicing. And Violet is there with Rhiannon, and she's just distracted the whole time because, first of all, she's feeling everything Tyrn is feeling. She's all in her head. Tyrn keeps talking to her to focus, but she can't focus because she's feeling everything Tyrn is feeling. And then she looks over, and there's Zayden and Garrick just like shirtless wrestling on the mat. And he's got that relic tattoo that's just going up all the way to his neck. He's got these silver marks all over his back. It's just, she's drooling. Rhiannon notices. She stops and she's like, what the fuck are you looking at? And she turns around and suddenly she's drooling too. And Liam is like, hello everyone. If we could just stop objectifying our very intense wing leader, that would be awesome. I'm sorry, I didn't know that we were objectifying. I thought we were learning how to spar. Actually, Rhiannon, objectively learning how to do what they're doing and be a part of that is absolutely what we're doing right now. And then they hear Rida get slammed to the ground by Imogen, and she too looks up and starts enjoying the show. It's very clear she's got a deep yearning for Xaden, which should be whatever to Violet, but like again, she's like, why do I feel jealous? And then the fun is over. Dane comes in, woke up on the wrong side of the fucking bed, pissed off like a pug that stepped in wet grass. He's mad. If all it takes to distract you is a shirtless guy, then you might as well be the worst squad this year. Let's see if you can even make it to graduation with that kind of attention.
Bro, we need Damn out of here. This guy does nothing.
We
but-
do need.
Maybe
Well, people keep on dying, right? Randomly. Why is Dane not one of them?
he's just a lot, okay? And everyone's
In the next, I can't believe I'm saying it. In the next video, just like she randomly talks about, oh yeah, then she died. I want Dane's name to be, oh yeah, and then Dane died. Yeah, he died.
it's like, oh,
I want it like
very
that.
suddenly everybody is acting very busy. Like we weren't staring, we were just massaging our shoulders because we've been battling really hard. Also, how awkward, because these are technically the first words Dane has ever said to Violet after Amber was killed. Anyway, they all go back to sparring, but Violet keeps getting distracted by Tyrion's emotions and input, and she cannot block him out yet, which results in Rhiannon swiping her leg off the mat. Violet loses balance and lands smack on her side. Oh, sorry, V. Jack Barlow stands up and walks over from a few mats down. And somehow the Black Dragon chose you? What a mistake, huh? I bet he regrets it now. And you know that, don't you? Since you haven't gotten a power yet? Shouldn't you have twice the chance to get a power since you have 2 dragons? Idiot, that's not how it works. Liam gets up and stands in between the two. A guy from the first wing walks up, standing next to Jack, and offers him a slice of his orange. And Jack shoves his hand away at the wrist. Fucking get off me. You want me to end up in the infirmary? Walk away from her, Barlow, I'm warning you. Jack is staring at Violet with disgust and envy all twisted together. You're only alive because of your wing leader. You know that, right? Interesting.
I also want Jack's name to be on the death
Because
row.
it was me that shoved a dagger in your shoulder during threshing, was it not? We can end this now if you want. Why not? Unless you want to hide behind another man in your wing like a little longer, since that's the only reason you're still alive. Violet's like, well, I know I can't fight him right now because I'm gonna die, so she doesn't say anything, and Jack Barlow is all, that's what I thought. And as he's walking off, Violet can't hold it anymore. She's got to get the last word. She spits at him. You ran off, Jack Barlow. You fucking ran like a coward. And guess what? Next time that it's you and me on the mat, you're gonna run away again.
Mhm. Go,
He tries to
girl.
tackle Violet, but Liam very easily puts his arm out and blocks him. Liam throws him out the gym and slams the door shut, and Dane is pissed. His face is red. What the hell is wrong with you, Violet? Stop pissing him off. Do you want to die? Oh, suddenly you care about what happens to me? And Xaden walks over. You know, you are so odd, Dane. You know that? You choose the oddest times to be her little savior and the most convenient times to ignore her. Xaden scoffs at Dane, but turns around and walks off. And as he's walking, Violet gets a good look on his back, where there's over 100 little shimmery silver scars. Over 100.
What does that mean?
We'll soon find out. Later that night, Violet is getting ready for bed, thinking about everything that happened that day when she feels
Oh my
this.
god, I know what those stars mean.
What?
The ribbons.
Yeah, he's
The what?
responsible for every single one of them.
Stars mean.
What?
The ribbons.
Yeah, he's responsible for every single one of them. If one of them rebels, he has to die.
Oh,
Yeah, he put his life on the line for them. They were gonna all get killed, actually. They were like gonna get sent to the front lines immediately, but he begged for a chance, and the only reason they're allowed in the Basquiat War College is because of him.
Wow.
whoa.
Yeah, so that's why they're fucking dedicated to this dude.
Oh.
Yeah. Meanwhile, later in the room, Violet gets this crazy ache in her stomach, and she's like, what the fork is happening? She drops from her vanity to her knees, and she's like, I don't know what this feeling is, but it's so overpowering. I gotta get out of here. She feels like, is this my signet power that's manifesting all of a sudden out of nowhere? She opens her dorm room door, and Liam comes up in the hallway, and suddenly she's looking at him, and she's like, whoa, he's so lean. He's so hot. And she's like, oh no, the feeling is lust. She's feeling overwhelming, overpowering lust because her dragon is probably doing it with Xaden's dragon right now. And she's like foaming at the mouth for any sort of dick. Yeah. No, literally. Okay. It's going crazy. So whenever this is happening, she's got to get away. Otherwise, she's going to pork Liam and then regret it severely tomorrow. So she slams the door shut. And then when she knows that he's out of the hallway, she walks out and she just needs some fresh air. She's outside the building and she sees outside Xaden.
Don't be.
Fucking Xaden, okay? And walks out and she just needs some fresh air. She's outside the building and she sees
I knew
outside
it. I knew.
Xaden.
Don't be.
Fucking Xaden.
Wait, what did he say?
Outside
Please.
Xaden.
Don't be. Okay.
Fucking Xaden, okay? And he's out there smoking weed.
Huh?
Really? They have weed?
Well, they call it something else.
Oh.
Yeah.
But Xaden probably feels the same thing.
Yes!
Because.
Yes!
Bruh.
Where the hell is Liam? Oh, he's in bed. In your bed? Violet smirks. Was that jealousy that she just heard?
Well,
No.
because his emotions are intensified, right? I mean, even if he is good at controlling, you cannot control every single emotion.
Because.
Yes!
Bruh.
Where the hell is Liam? Oh, he's in bed. In your bed? Violet smirks.
Also, he knows that she must be feeling all those
Was
things.
that jealousy that she just heard? No, though I don't think it's any of your business. It's not. Unless you are in a position where you cannot consent, and trust me, right now, you are not in a position. These are not your thoughts or emotions. Just trust me. You have no clue what I'm willing to consent to right now. Are you not shielding them? Oh yeah, because if I knew how, I would just avoid doing it right now. I don't want to feel this way, okay? Not all of us are able to receive lessons or have powers yet. Thank you very much for the painful reminder. Xaden gets up and walks over to her. I can teach you. Now just ask me nicely.
We all know where this is going.
Excuse me? Ask me nicely, Violet, or else I'm not gonna teach you. She's like,
Bro, this
"Can't
book is something else in disguise. With dragons and wars, but instead.
Yeah. And then she's like, I can't even think straight. Like, how often do they do it? Often. You're gonna need to learn to shield. Now, he gets all up in her face. He's like holding her head with his hands. I'm like, wow, it's a lot. He's like brushing a snowflake off her hair. He's holding her head, cupping her face. I didn't know lessons require so much physical attention. Lucky for you, it's one of the perks of having me teach you. She's like, I want to climb this man like a tree. I want to fucking hump his leg. Like she's losing her mind. Anyway, he's all like, envision yourself in a place where you can lock the door, and she's in the little archive room of the fucking scribe quadrant. She's locking the doors. She's like, okay, I'm blocking them out. And he's like, you're incredible. It took me weeks to learn how to do that. Keep Sigale out. Well, I just have a great teacher. Xaden's thumb strokes her cheek, and his eyes are on her lips. This is a bad idea. Perhaps the worst idea. Kissing you would be a cataclysmic mistake. Catastrophic, really. We'll wake up with regrets. Of course, I would expect nothing less.
And then they kiss?
And then he says, fuck it. And they kiss. Literally, he says, fuck it. And they start making out, and he slams her up against the wall, and they just start like dry humping each other, just like raw dog it. They don't do it, but they're over the clothes. They're doing it. They're just like rubbing each other like they're trying to start a fire with their private areas. And then they're just making out, and it's just, she's about to bust. You know what I mean? It's a lot. It's a lot. It's everything that she wants, but then he pulls away. Leave. You have to leave. What? Why? We can't. And I can't leave you. I need you to walk upstairs to your room, and I refuse to do this when you have a desire that is not entirely yours. No, it is mine. I want this. But Violet knows that he's right. Technically, it's Tyrion's desire, because who knows how much of this is hers. So with that, she turns, walks off. Well, I mean, okay, no, she runs off, because otherwise, she's going to try to climb up him again. When she gets back to her room, it's a holy shit moment. Anyway, the next few weeks pass with a blur. Her signet power hasn't come up yet. She can feel power manifesting in herself, ready to just burst out, but Tyrion keeps telling her, you're not ready. And she's like, when the fuck am I going to be ready? Which, you know what, Violet? Calm down, because she can't even stay on Tyrion yet as they're flying. She's still failing all of these flying lessons. Meanwhile, at Battle Brief class that day, remember the day of the scroll? Side note, I forgot to go into this. But they don't mention it. It's weird. Isn't that weird?
Ah.
So Violet is like, why would they not mention it? And Liam is like, maybe you didn't see the confidential sign. And she's like, no, I checked, but it's so weird. Meanwhile, Dane is asking Violet if they can talk, and she's just so over this guy. I mean, she hasn't
I
talked
am
to him
over
since the
this
fight in the gym
guy.
that day, but he just looks so helpless on the stairs. He's begging her, apologizing that he should have trusted her, but he didn't. And Violet tells him it really hurt because not only did he not trust her, Zayden trusted her without proof. I mean, just took her word for it, but Dane wouldn't even believe her, her best friend. And you tried to get into my memory like you were entitled to it. You demanded it from me. What? I never asked? No, you didn't. Not that day with Amber. I'm so sorry. Violet will never see Dane the same way, but this is still her best friend, and she can tell that he just means well. Even now on the stairs, he's telling her to be careful of everything, you know? Zayden just might be using her to get something bigger, worse. I have higher security clearance than you because of my powers. I saw his files. Zayden has very strong reason to never forgive you or your entire family. They really, really wronged him, or at least that's how he feels. Yes, and his dad is responsible for killing my brother. I think we both hate each other, but we're both just trying to make it work since our dragons are mated. It's almost like an insurance policy because, you know, you don't have to worry about me. I have 2 badass dragons in case something happens. Dane smiles, reaches up, and cups her cheek. He smirks a little. Okay, V. How can I argue with someone who has 2 badass dragons? Exactly. Sorry for not asking you for the memory. He drops his hand to her shoulder. You're gonna be late to class. He squeezes her shoulder before walking off, and Violet readies herself to head to her first Professor Carr class.
Wait, why? Why? What's so suspicious?
When he touches people, he can get memories.
Ah. I didn't realize that. When she was telling this story, I was like, okay, he's going to the good side again. I guess not.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! And that's where I leave you with this part!
No!
Wait, she doesn't know?
No!
He secretly stole her memory,
Yes!
and he saw
I
everything.
don't know what he saw.
No!
But that-
Wait,
King
go back.
off, and Violet readies herself to head to her first Professor Carr class.
Wait, why? Why? What's so suspicious?
When he touches people, he can get memories.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! That's where I leave you with this part!
Wait, she doesn't know?
No!
He secretly stole her memory,
Yes!
and he saw
I
everything.
don't know what he saw. But that is where I leave you with today's
Well,
episode.
He has
Oh,
turned full
come
villain
on.
now.
Yes.
Aw.
So that's it for today's episode. Stay tuned for the last and final part coming next week. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye. No, but
Bada
seriously.
bing, bada bang.
Welcome to this week.
No, seriously. In the next episode, I want Dane to be on the death row. And this was it. I enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed my reaction. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.